こんにちは。
こんにちは。
今回はスターシーズンの、スターシーズンライブを、3人で見ていこうかなと思います。ちなみに初めてね、やっとなんですけど、ジャスパーが参加します。よろしくお願いします。
よろしくお願いします。ジャスパーです。はい。
YouTube の、ね、概要の方に書いてるんですけど、私のお父さんです。これからね、一緒にスターシーズンやっていこうということで、紹介しました。そんなに日本語得意じゃないけど、日本語喋れるっちゃ喋れるんで、やっていきましょう。とりあえずもうすでに動画始まってますけど、シティズンコンの時にその字幕動画を作って、それなりに皆さん喜んでもらえたんで、これから先もやっていこうかなと思ってます。で、どんどんこうやってスターシーズンの動画が出るたんびに字幕つけていこうと思ってるんで、見たい人はね、ぜひチャンネル登録して、字幕動画をね、見て開発状況を楽しんでもらえたらなと思ってます。で、シーズンコンの時はかなり急いでね、字幕を作ったんで、かなり、なんていうかな、間違ってる部分が多かったりとかしたんですけど、これから先はそれなりに余裕持って見直ししてやっていくんで、それなりに良くなっていくかなと思います。やればやるほどね、うまくなっていくと思うんで、見守ってください。ということで、動画見ていきましょうか。
Directly to your right, Nick, tell everybody who you are and what you do for Star Citizen.
Hello, my name's Nick. I'm a systems designer 3. I'm very similar to Zach. We kind of work hand in hand on FPS.
メガネのさ、
So I've focused on weapons and also now I'm focusing on armor with Luke as
候補
well.
の人
そう、ジャレットで。
No stranger to SCL. You've been doing this for years and years and years now.
なんで
Who you are, what you do.
I'm Luke Presley. I
反りた
彼はこの顔を出すはず、キャラクターカスタマイズになる。
and also armor.
あ、そうなの。
I own the law, he says.
I am the law.
It's like Judge Dredd. I am the
そう
law.
パソコンのスキャンにするために。
No, there's a newer Judge Dredd. It
Oh.
was very popular. It should have gotten a sequel and never did. All right, so as we want to do, we have put a thread up in Spectrum, which is our bespoke communication platform available on robertspacindustries.com, where we let folks submit their questions and vote up the ones they wanted to see answer the most. Earlier this week, we let Nick, Zach, and Luke dig through your questions and find the questions that they had the most information about, because remember, not everything is currently in active development, so things that are a little farther off will be more nebulous and stuff, because we reserve the right to have a better idea. You know, you say something today and it's not going to happen for years and years and years, you write yourself into a corner. So all the stuff that we're going to be talking about today
ちなみに
is
ね、今回の話
the
は、
imminent work, the stuff that we're
シ
heading
ティズンコンで
into
やって
in
たドレスとキル、
2025 and stuff like this. So, Nick,
プレゼンテーション3つ目の続きみたいな感じですかね。フォローアップ動画ですね。
the next evolution of the armor archetypes.
これからそのアーマーのタイプとかそういうのにいろいろ関わる人、開発人、シティズンコンで出てましたけど、その人のもうちょっと詳しいことを教えてくれるみたいです。
mining and industrial suits also coming along.
Yeah. So yeah.
見ただけでオリジナルボイス英語で聞きたい、聞きにくい、上げてもいいですか？
音量上げるってこと？
But
音量はそっちで
any
上げて。
eagle-eyed spies would have seen in one of the slides we actually
You,
had like
you can
the
raise the
concept of the
volume
prototype
on
of
your
our
side.
mining suit. So the mining suit is going to have its own dedicated mining visor where you'll be able to scan and find more detailed information about minables that are around you at a much further distance. And obviously it offers great environmental protection. So if you want players to be going down in caves and obviously different temperature resistance and obviously for storage as well. So those minables, whether they be large or small, we want the player to be able to think if they're dedicated mining that they can head towards that. And we've got the salvage suit as well. That just reminded me of that. Like we obviously the beauty of this as well is we are going into some of our armor sets that are more legacy as well. So it's not just new armor sets. So
どう思いますかと、このアーマーは見つける難しいじゃないでしょうか。
俺、結局、特化し、アーマー、採掘用は採掘用でアーマーを特化していく話から
レピュテーションでその図面、ブループリントをアンロックしていくか、どっかで拾うんだろうね。
けど、ルーティングはどうですか？もし私、例えばこのアルモルがあれば、違う人はこのアルモルを取ったらもう一回作ることできるじゃない？
図面がないと、ブループリントがないと多分できないと思う。もちろんルートはできると思うけど、例えば PVP で倒した他のプレイヤーのアーマーを取って自分で使うことができても、同じものを作ろうと思ったら、ブループリントのアンロックかブループリントをどっかで見つけてこないといけない。
ブループリントはギルドからもらうじゃない？もしちゃんと頑張ったら。
もしくはルート。
Yeah, most players who don't have that visor will be
ルート
relying
もあ
on
るは
the
ず。
screen on their weapon, you know, to understand what they're salvaging. Whereas they
環
may,
境スパイ
you
み
know,
たいなのができ
visors
る
may
な。
get extra information either side.
けど、ちょっと待って、1回だけで作ることできるブループリントは1回だけ使うか、何回も作ることできますか？ですから、もし何回も作ることできたら、後で売れることできるじゃない？
もちろん、できると思うよ。
ああ、そういうことか。複製して、ライセンスを渡すみたいな感じで。
だから売る分には売れるけど、でも自分で作れないから、また買わなきゃいけない。
Nick, are the extra pouches from
それでいいと思うけど。
2953 still a thing?
They are still a thing. It's definitely in the plans. It's just not actively being worked on
複
currently.
製はできない
But
感じか
it's
な。
something that we're
あ
definitely
今もその
still
ブループリント
looking
をコ
for.
ピーして、
それはできないと思う。
Zach,
うん、
Yes.
we saw the return of the battle car.
けど、もし私だといえば、何がアルモルできたら、このブループリントもらったら、もう何回もこれ作れることできるか、1回だけ。
ブループリントは一人一つ使ったらブループリントがなくなって、自分が覚えて、人の例えばそのブループリントで覚えたアーマーを誰かに作ってあげることはできるけど、ブループリントを教えることは多分できないと思う。
But there's two things with that. The Moab is going to be expensive to craft, right? Like that is a, you know, that's an endeavor essentially. And the second thing is that if you do that, if you do any like large, you know, big scale AoE attacks, you will destroy the harvestables. They will just be gone. So any like large explosions, like we talked about in Idris Railgun, right? Like that is a lot of damage as well, and you'll just basically completely remove the harvestables. You know that, or we're going to say, well, the quality is, you know, absolutely gone as well. So people are like, oh, there's this cheese strategy. It's like, oh, I've already thought of that. So we've got you there already.
And before we started, I
と、ヒューガさん、ハンティング行きましょうか、いつがこの
モンスターハンターはしたい。
モンスター、当たり前ですね。
I think the idea of a
で
radiation.
もこれだからモアブとかででっかい爆弾を落として倒すのは良くないってことだよね。品質が落ちたりとか、そもそも取れない、なんていうの、採取できなくなる。
Meaning it roams and you find and search for it, or will it be a mobiGlass mission?
So Rich is very keen on it not being a mobiGlass mission. He understands, you know, the almost pompousness that you need with something that is of this scale and this cool. And we do have a specific plan already. We know what we're going to do. It's nothing like we've seen in Star Citizen before, and it's very cool. And I've seen the brief. I know what it is, and it's incredibly cool. But no details because we want to make it an event.
Okay. And some of the things we tried to make it as evident as possible in our demonstration, but you know, some people, you don't always get it. The having to taunt it out, using a ground vehicle, doing donuts and stuff. Obviously, we're not going to go into the details just yet, but that's representative of the kind of thing. Like, it's not just about going and finding it; it's about coaxing it out.
Coaxing it out. And there is something you'll have to do with the big event that you coax it to a certain location. So that's already thought of. So it's not just oh, there it is, get the vehicle, go out.
私は車の人じゃない。このヒュガするつもり。私飛行機。
When you get your guild together, you're all together, and be able to just, you know, get the boys together too. Let's go kill the sandworm. It's really cool.
Can you kite the sandworm?
Can you kite the sandworm? Well, I don't want to give a really nerdy gameplay answer, but it does move underground, so possibly.
I just remember in the early
これ
WoW days.
サンドワーム見つけるってなるとさ、
trying
あ
desperately
れなのかな、やっぱり
to
探索用の船とかで
into the Agramar.
ああ、どうなるんだろう
I'm
ね。
terrified because of how systemic
だから
our game is.
例えば目撃情報とかを頼りにして探すことになるんじゃないわからないけど。今の話だとモビグラスとかのミッションで出るわけではないみたいなこと言ってるから、だから目撃情報を頑張って集めたりとか、まあ今言ってたように多分スキャンとかして生体反応を探ったりとか、そういう感じなんかな。
It's amazing.
Yeah, but remember what happened when I used game design terms last time? People didn't understand what I meant, so.
I'm not sure you understand what you mean.
Yeah, I'm not actually employed here. I just make the glint.
Zach showed up one day to the company barbecue, and we just kept him around. Maybe this next question's for Luke. I mean, anybody can answer it, but with the need for multiple specialized armors, will we see suit lockers enabled and more options for armor storage, like storing in the ship's inventory, come out as Star Wars?
スーツロッカーってさ、あれかな、今、ホテルっていうか、アパートとか起きたら、あれが使えるんです。
そうじゃない？あと、最近だとゼウスとかに、すごいいい感じのスーツロッカーがあったけど。
ホテルは多分ないと思うけど、ローカルけど、インベントリーだけ。自分のハンガーか船まで行かないといけないことになる。もしローカル使いたいと思ったらね。
Whole loadout, yeah.
And then swap into it very quickly, and your clothes would go into the mannequin on the inside as well, so you can quickly swap back and forth. They also have small inventory space, so you can put your spares, like your glasses and your grenades and whatever in there.
なんか、あれかな、
Yeah, so
戦闘用、採掘用とか、
store these things
ゴミを意識、
when you have to take them off or swap.
なんていうの、設定しておいて素早く着替えれる
They
よう
may
に。
not come online at the same time.
そうだね。まあ、設定っていうよりかはマネキンに乗っけといて、多分それとインタラクションしたら切り替わるみたいな。
We released a preview on social media.
このローカルはクラフティングすることはできるようになるか、どうですか？
lockers where you can just display your full loadout and stuff like this in your homes and whatnot. And it occurs to me that, with cargo grids and
今ちょうど多
having
分
these things that you might
ジ
be
ャレッ
able
ト
to.
が
Ships have their own suit
ほら
lockers, but you
言って
might
る
be
言って
able
る。
to, kit your ships out with even more lockers and stuff like that, and carry them around and basically really do the doomsday prepper kind of thing. Like, I've got my Zeus, I've got my, a C2, and in the back I've just got, the Batman armory for every occasion. No matter what comes up, I can run to the back, and there's my mining outfit, and there's my salvage
だから
outfit.
船のカーゴグリッドにそのスーツロッカーとか多分まだゲーム内にないですけ
Obviously, the
ど、
inventory screen
追加して置くことはできる。
But this idea that you just said is
備え付けじゃなくてカーゴグリッドを犠牲にすることでそういうこともできるようになる。
絶対力でちょっと、
and then to immediately just go
自分
right
が
to
使える
it.
もの
Like,
を増やすみたいな。
equip.
So,
I
so,
want
so,
that.
so.
Yeah. I think that's going to unlock a lot of cool gameplay.
なんかこれ最終的にロッカー以外もできそうな気がするな。
いろいろできると思いますよ。それこそ
そ
乗員用の椅子とか増やしたりとか。
You don't want to be dropping into a hot war zone and then you're like, oh, okay, 1 minute.
まあでかい船が必要けどね。
No, I want my
So-
combat. Yeah, I want to go straight to it. I want to get out there. I want to fight. So
なんか
they kind of all these.
この話ぶりから感じるに、ゼウスぐらいが最低条件、ゼウスぐらいで最低条件だから。
When your ship's been
いや
attacked,
どうだろう、
you know,
そんなこと
the
ない
lights
と
going
思う。
off, you're really worried. You're not like, oh, hang on, let
例え
me open
ば
a menu.
パイシー
It's
とかの
like
後ろ
people are coming, yeah.
カーゴグリッ
You
ドある
want,
か
yeah,
ら。
you want the
Ah.
doom shotgun gift, right? Like these guys are coming, well, boosh.
まあ
and then, yeah,
乗るものは
it's-
乗るってこと
it's
です
gonna
よ
be。
サイズさえ問題なければ。
そう、
You picked a perennial favorite here.
カルゴだけ運ぶことできなくなるね。
Parachutes?
So, do you want to take this one? I did ask JJ about it.
Yeah. So, yes, but maybe not exactly like parachute. Something more in line with Star Citizen. So something in the nature of a parachute, but maybe not exactly a parachute. But yes, we want something in line.
You don't want to be collecting that up and folding it away. You can imagine our game, it'd be that high fidelity that you'd be.
We need to sci-fi it up a bit, you know.
あ
You may not be aware of this, but JJ has previously said jetpacks for for this. Is that what you're hitting, or are you hitting something else?
No, we got something else hinted
I-
at.
You got something else?
I've got something else.
Something else besides jetpacks.
Yeah.
Okay.
エアコン的なことができるって。
All right, let's find
そう
another
だね。
Valakar
ただ、
question
パ
here.
ラシュートでもない、ジェットパックでもない何かって言ってるから、まあそれは
Oh, is that what that is?
お楽しみってことか。
You ever been to a pub? It's all you hear half the time. No, it doesn't associate with the Brits.
Let's see. Regarding the Valakar,
Yeah.
is there any idea of how this once Lear-bound worm started to show up all over
こ
the
れリアっての
map?
は星の名
So
前
thank you, Astropub, for this question. I assume it's him because of what
ど
it
うだろう、
sounds
多分。
like. He's going to make a video out of it. But I asked Narrative about this just to double check, and basically the idea is we don't actually know, but we
星の名前っ
assume
ぽいね。
that people have taken the juveniles from Lear and done some possible.
じゃあこのサンドウォルムはいろんなところだけ、パイロだけじゃなくてスタントにもなる
100% sure, you know, in a world
多
as
分。
big and kind of, well, the universe as big as Star Citizen and not being able to track everything. Sometimes, you know, people do
リア
things
から持
that
ち出し
they
て
happen.
スタントン
So,
星系の
possible
全
animal
体に
smuggling, possibly scientists.
まあ、ブラックバスみたいなもんだよね、日本で言ったら。
Possibly scientists.
Yeah, they're always up to something, ain't they?
If I don't see
外
them
来種ってことでしょ。
within 5
ブラ
minutes
ッ
of
ク
this
バスよ
part
り立ち悪
area
そう。
of just that one, possibly
まあ
scientists,
まあ、そらね、
I'm going to be
300メー
disappointed.
トルの化け物になりますか
Let's
らね、最初
see. Will the Valakar scoot? Will it scoot? Will it scoot?
I love
Will
it.
it scoot on through the sand for much of distance, or does it stay local to your area where you trigger the boss fight?
Everyone
Does it
who's
scoot?
everyone who's seen the word scoot has immediately pointed out that this specific person used the word
ねえ、
scoot.
自分のベースの
But
下
no,
の
it
中に出
actually
てきたら
does
どう
move
なる
underground. When it goes back underground, you see it moving and it kicks up a big
それあるの
storm and it's
自分
really
たちが
cool.
作った
We
ベー
didn't
ス
have
の
that
マシ
working
ン
in
で
time for the demo,
いき
but
なり出
it
てき
does
て
work now, which is really
迷惑だな。
nice. 'Cause at the time, it only worked in offline mode, not online mode. So it was this close. It was this close. But yeah, you know, sometimes you just got to be right. Cut it off. We're making the video.
Yeah, I want to. I don't want to skip over that fact. That was actual gameplay. Like
Yeah.
we sat there, we
I
gathered.
played that. I was
Yeah, we
Yeah,
did.
exactly. It was the three of you and a bunch of other conscripts and stuff, and it was just jump in and play it. And it was you know, see if you can beat it, and yeah, occasionally it was like, okay, we you know, we need a couple more deaths, you know, let's see how if you can die a creative way. But yeah, those were the actual fights as this
でも
exists now.
サンドウォルムは
And like I said,
4.0 出てこないね
continue to
後
evolve
で出てくる
ahead of its release
うん、今
in
4
a
点 X って言って
subsequent
るから。
4.x patch.
The best bit about watching people's
You
reaction
want
to the panel and everything was everyone's like, oh no, it's the worm. And then we pan to it says actual gameplay on the bottom. Everyone's like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Someone said like you can tell it's in game because there's like a little bit of jank. And it's like that little bit of jank means it's in engine and it's real. Yeah, I remember saying when we were talking about it, I was like, look, we can't show this thing off without having gameplay because everyone will just go, you idiots. So it was a
私から見たら
really
この
close
バリ
fight.
エーションは方が面白い。スワンプとか中での一人いるときは出てくるかな。
On it, and then so many more people giving feedback. We got to test it more, ironically, because we were getting so much footage for it. We were playing it so much that we were like, okay, this, you know, we found new issues, and it was a very helpful experience.
Yeah, and when we did the first recording, we had to scrap it because I was in an unreleased ship and I didn't know.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we had to scrap that whole first playthrough because of it.
Oh, were you in a?
I was in the
Yeah, you're not supposed to be in that one.
yeah. It's really cool.
You can ask me these things. Okay, that's what happened. All right. 'Cause there was a whole playthrough we couldn't
はい、
do. I was
今
trying
で
to figure
待
out
ってくださいって言
that
うんですよ。
makes way more sense.
If it was a gun, I'd know, but
Really not.
ships, not me.
You don't know everything everybody else is doing.
I don't know anything about
Project this
ships.
big?
I know like the names of 5
映画
ships.
と
I
ペン
can
で
name
見
you
るか
every
な
gun.
IAE 出てくるの。
But if you're like, what ship is that? I'd be like, that's
Nante.
crazy, bro.
IAE で発表される船どんな
Cruise
感じな
Knight
の
or
かな
Arrowhead.
Why doesn't it have a glint on it?
まあ、スターランサーマックスとかは決まってるけ
Can
ど、
we get an
あと
update
ク
to
ル
the
セイダーの
rolls
ス
of
ター
armor
ターシッ
sets
プだ
that
っ
have
け
been sold on the
あ
pledge
ポーラ
store?
リスとか。でもあと2つぐらいまた あるんかな。
このテラピン、メディカルベージョンや、私はぜひこれは Tier 2メディカルベッドになると思う。
メディカルベッド
Are there specific updates to those roles yet, or is that something?
Yeah.
All armors are going to get this, like roles and specializations, all of them.
マーチャントも出てくるんじゃない？
The subscriber, stuff is all variants of things.
あとこのガーディアンも出てくる？
And even the more unique
未来の。
多分ガーディアン来るよ。
So, yeah, you don't need to worry about that. Like, we'll just. This I won't go through them all.
Yeah, I was going to say I think what the question is actually looking for is like a comprehensive list. Like back when I was running the subscriber program way back when, we invented like the Overlord armors, which was a vigilante gang in Pyro and stuff like this.
Right.
So probably, well, which roles are those armors and stuff like this? The parasite helmet is like what role is that for? It's like this. So yeah, a little too detailed for something.
4.0 で追加されるサーバーメッシュと一緒に来る新しい設計。
That's the appropriate thing to have a fact work with the community team. Put
こ
that
こに自
together.
警団がいるってことはイコールギャングってことだよ
Yeah,
ね。
it should be made clear as well that like
自警団もいるんじゃない？
the things the armors you saw at
両方いると思うけど。
there are newest, shiniest ones. That's the reason we picked those. But all the legacy stuff, all the stuff that's currently in game right now.
It's also worth saying like a lot of these armies are they were very specialized, and we were trying to use that as a showcase to show like, okay, so if you want to be the ultimate stealth, you pick this stealth suit. But we are having items that are, not every item is going to be specialized to the T. There are going to be ones that tinker towards that way. Like, oh, they're a little bit of stealth, but they also have loads of attributes. It's not like, oh, I picked the stealth out, so now I'm really weak. Like, so we just focused a lot on those ones. So like, a lot of the subscriber ones.
Hyuga、どんなアームが欲しいでしょうか？
More generalized.
More generalized, exactly. But it doesn't mean like, oh, okay, I've got this helmet, so that means I'm forced down this route.
このスナイパーのところ、やつ
Two points to remember that.
あんまり人に見つかりたくないからスナイパーにはならないけど、ただステルスがいい。
And the second that you can still do.
だけど、もしこれ欲しかったらしばらくスナイパーのために頑張らないといけない、このギルドの中で違う。
多分。
Exactly. And then when you really want to
わからない。
specialize,
どうなるか
you
わから
progress
ない。
through the
それ
game
は
and you work with factions and guilds and you get rewards, and then all of a sudden it's like, I want to be the salvager, you have that suit.
ハルベージャー。
So one of the things we mentioned is backpacks and how some
ってことは、だからさっきの言い方から見ると、装備の組み合わせによってなんかいろいろとできそうですね。だから
そうだね。
うん。
You'll need to stow them.
防御力がちょっと不安だったら、ちょっと別のアー
It
マ
will
ー
be a
を。
case of
だからサルベージアーマーでも多分いろいろあると思いますよ。前線でサルベージする人と、後方のジャンクヤードでサルベージする人だったら多分用途が違うから、コンバットサルベージみたいな仕様のやつもあったりとか、いろいろあると思いますけどね。
And you'll automatically have that backpack.
このパワースーツも絶対バリエーションになるじゃない？
Put in that inventory, and when you stand up, it will appear back on you. Because as you said before, Nick, like the last thing you want to do is be strapped into your dropship. The doors open, and then suddenly, backpack, gun, take it all out of the drawer.
That's a major piece of information there, Luke. Like, it's in the last couple of patches when people have seen, we've seen things, people sticking chairs, to the cargo grid on the sides of, hull seas and stuff like this. And people have had questions about, well, what does this do for drop ships if you can just put seats anywhere and whatnot? Like, where's the value of my drop ship? But you just dropped a great little pearl there that, a drop ship seat will have its own specific inventory. It will store your backpack, your weapons, blah, 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 so you can sit comfortably. And when you get up, all there for you. That's
これはいいな。
and I think folks who own a dropship will appreciate that.
We're looking at
だ
other
から
places
椅
where
子
we
を
can maybe
増
do
設
that
で
as
きる
well.
かもしれないけ
Maybe
ど、
single seater
戦
ships
闘用の
and things,
強襲用のドロップシッ
nothing
プ
confirmed.
としては、やっぱドロップシップを持ってた方がいいよってことだよね。座れるからってそういう問
We
題
have
じゃない
seen
っていう。
showcases of specific armor specializations like heavy combat and heavy tracker. Will we see armor variations of different types like light tracker and medium combat, and how will those full set bonuses differ from the shown examples? Give me a detailed list, 17 examples, please.
Okay, all right, number one. Yeah, of course, you will see different like weight classes for the majority of the roles. with the main differences, like there'll be unique differences, but main differences obviously being protection versus mobility on foot and then in flight. And
いらんクラスが出てきて。
so, for instance, like the hunter, say we've got a light hunter.
シティズンコンで出てきたんだけど、なんかそのトラッキングバウンティーハンター用かな。
the best in their classes.
Yeah, tracker. So it's
finding life forms, but maybe the heavy will be way better at it than the light. But the light gets the benefit of being stealthier and faster. And it's like, which one do you take? If you're storming, if you know your bounty is in an underground facility they've taken for themselves, you're going to
街中にはバウンティーハンタ
Whereas
ー
if
の
it's
なんていう
in
の
like
犯罪者が
busy
現れて
streets and stuff,
それを追跡するようになるのか。
so it's all about,
It's about knowing your prey. If you're stalking somebody, who's savvy and knows what's going on, like Space Tomato or something, you'd want a heavy armor because they're probably going to fight back, and we want the additional protection. But if you're stalking someone who has no clue what's going on, you're just going to be able to sneak up right them, like Captain Burks. You can just you just use the light armor. It's like, let's just get in there fast. He's not going to know what's going on anyway.
Yeah, and I do want to clarify actually, like there's a bit of confusion about the full suit feature. That isn't some like arbitrary buff. It's not something we just made up.
7 of 7 superpowers.
Yeah. Like not all suits will have this kind of thing, but like it tends to be systemic. So say the stealth suit's a really good one, right? The bit you put, like the piece you put on your arms, that masks the emissions of your arms, right? So you need the full set to fully be hidden. Otherwise, some part of you is giving off emissions.
フルセット必要な意味は、これは、別々にブループリントを探さないといけない。例えばヘルメットは別、トルソは別。どんな風になる？
Zach, going back to
多分
creatures here.
個別に必要になると思うよ。
Everybody knows.
ただ、でもレピュテーションを多分その仮にヘルメットがアンロックできるようになったら、その時点で全部のブループリントは別々に取得できると思いますけどね。
Can we tame creatures?
Well, taming is a very specific word, and I had to ask Rich about this, so I'm going to make sure his wording is correct, as to not have speculation. We don't have anything in development right now. So no speculation, there's nothing in active development in terms of pets, but yes, TM down the road sort of thing. But
We're still committed to it. It is one of the stretch goals.
It's definitely still committed.
It's what we said at the beginning of the show. Not everything is in active development, so not everything has an answer that we can give you at this moment.
Yeah.
I think everybody likes the idea of having a pet copian. I know some of our NPCs in Pyro have pet copians and stuff like that. So those systems are being worked out with NPCs, and being able to issue commands and stuff like this. When the eye of development Sauron turns its gaze back to pets and whatnot, you will have a lot of things that we can build on.
Yeah, I joined this project just so I could travel space with a Shiba Inu, so it's definitely something that I'm very keen on.
ペット何がある？なんかシズンコンで出てた犬っぽい何かがいましたね。あれ
そうそう、ああいうの、あれ NPC がパイロのギャングがペットで飼ってたりするんですよ。
私ペット必ず欲しい。犬っぽい感じのやつ。ぜひこれは絶対欲しい。やめろ、もしなかったら。
People seem to think they're obsessed with the idea that it is a square.
Why? Why do they think it's a square?
Because they have sent me all these videos and they're just incorrect. But this is a picture of a video of when the sandworm was bugged. See this? And that's when they didn't have randomness in it. And it's a circle. So it is a circle, it's not a square.
So you're saying that when it was bugged, it was a circle, but when you fixed it, it's a square.
No, it's still a
コマ
circle.
送りにして撮った投射物がこれ四角なのか円形なのかって、まあぶっちゃけどうでもいい話してるよね。
そうですね。別に何でもいい。
It never was a square. Just it never was a square, just to be
Are
clear.
you trying to gaslamp the
け
community?
ど皆さん結構新規でこれ受けてるじゃない
But you said they've sent you
私から見たら本当にどっちでもいい。
どっちでも
presumably
いい
of it
どっち
being
で
a
もいいし
square.
何でもいい
Yes, but they're wrong. I know, because when you
細
tell
か
them
い
about
ね。
the debug, it is a cone, isn't it?
It is a cone.
There you go. And don't say, oh, you said square. I
そ
mean,
この
circle,
話いろいるん
not
だ。
cone. They're the same thing.
It sounds
そ
like a
この
gaslamp.
話
You know, you're
い
the
る
square guy now. You've gone from
How
flint
dare
to
you? I'm not a square.
Somebody in the chat's going to be like, you said it wrong. He means gaslighting. No, it's gaslamping. It's always been gaslamping, and you're wrong.
I actually didn't know that.
I hope you know.
The show doesn't get any better when it's taped. Nick,
Hello.
what can you tell us about Did you put this question in there in a second? Non-combat, but okay. So before we talked about industrial
Yes,
stuff,
yeah.
mining and stuff like this. So what can you tell us about non-combat, non-industrial specialization, armor and clothing, stuff like medics and repair people and?
I'm glad you said medics because I saw a lot of comments about medics. So yeah, we do have lots of non-combat. So things like obviously a medic. And again, we're kind of not just by class, because obviously like Luke mentioned, it's not just always about the mass and the size or more protection. It's also about like what makes sense. You know, if you're a first responder, what would you wear? You probably wear something light, quick on your feet, can get down to it, you know, if someone's in a cave or whatever.
どう思いますかトレーディングのためにはスペシャライズスーツは作るかどうか。
Then obviously we talked about
絶
potentially
対
the
に必要
ideas
になる
of like a medic
ある
on
と
the
思う。
front line, so they'd have a bit more protection. But the things with medics, obviously they've got the visor, so they're going to have more, when they ping and scan, they're going to have the vital signs of people in their group. So
単
if
純
someone's
な
down, they're
そう
going
だ
to
け
get a
ど、
notification on their screen.
ショップ持って売り買いに
maybe how
は
long they've got
そこまで
before
必要ないか
they
もしれないけど、
get incapacitated.
物を作る、
And then obviously we've also
とか、
looked at the idea of like refilling
掘るとか、
your
採掘とか
med
絶
pen,
対
so
に
the
必要になって
valve
く
on
る。
your leg. Again, kind of
まあ、あ
being a
と
systemic system,
今
but
トレードの話だ
you
と
rather than discarding your med
積み
pen,
下
you
ろし
actually
作
put
業
it back
に
and
なん
then
か
slowly
ちょっ
refill.
と
So it means that your
便利な
primary
機能
role
がつい
isn't
た
just
スー
focused
ツ
on
とか。
combat, you're on the front line,
ああ、
like healing people up and helping them, body dragging them to areas of safety and whatnot. But
確
then
か
we've got a lot.
今あ
We've
る
got
トラクタービー
just
ム、
started concepting like a
半
tank suit.
ピストル
which
型
I
の
know
や
is
つと
quite a
かライ
vague
フル
term,
型
but
の
obviously
ハンド
we've
トラク
got
タービーム。
hacking in the
あれ
game
って
coming
電
soon,
池で
and
動くようになる
that'll
は
be
ずだ
like
か
the
ら、
idea that you can remote
あ
hack.
の
So
電
maybe
池
you don't actually have
が
to go up to the
長
terminal.
持ちするとか、出
And
力
the
が
suit
上
will
がると
excel
か、
at
そ
that,
ん
and
なのあるん
obviously
じゃない。
again you'll have your own different visor. And one exciting feature
あ
is
と
電池のバックパックになるかもしれない。
う
quite
ん、
passionate
あと
about. So
アトラスみたいに
some of our combat
遠
arms,
く
which
の
we've
グリッ
not
ド
really
に直
spoke
接
about
置け
before,
るよう
but
になると、
if you have your energy
ああ、
magazines and you store
特
them
殊なヘ
onto
ル
your
メットに
suit,
よって。
you'll start to get a bit of trickle
あ、
charge
電池
because
付
they
きに
are
なるの
essentially
か。
batteries.
でも
So
アトラ
these
スも
arms
ガソリンが
start to
必要になるか
charge
電
and
池
it's
が
kind of
必要
like a
になる
trade-off, right? So it's like
そ
ballistic,
れは
they've
分
got
からない。
limited
でも電
capacity,
池は
can
必要
really
なん
do
じゃない？
more damage, whereas like energy ammo, you can slowly recharge it over time via your suit as powering it, but maybe they don't do as much damage, or maybe they don't have as much
エ
travel
レクトロニッ
distance.
ク系の研
And
究
one
を
of the beauties with the tech suit is the idea
す
that
る
you
のもあり
can,
かも
while
な。
it's
絶
recharging
対に
your
電
teammates
池
around
って
you,
必要
so
に
if
なっ
I
て
was
くるの
wearing the
か。
suit, Luke and Zach would have their
いや、
energy mag
足りな
start
い
to
ぐらい
slowly
で。
recharge but yeah,
あ、
like
でも今
obviously
ちょうど
we
テック
went
ス
to
ー
like
ツ
the
みたいな
pilot
話してた
suits
ね。
and we talked about racing and
充電される。
I feel like I'm
Environment suit. So
environment suits, another massive one. Yeah, so
Leader.
the leader, aka me, apparently. Yeah, so we've got thanks. We've got environment suits. So obviously, like we're gonna have these planets that we're introducing and all these different systems. We're gonna have lots of hot and cold temperatures, radiation, corrosive. And these planets are going to be, you're not going to be able to travel to these in just any old army. You're going to have to prepare. You're going to think about storage. And it's like if you're like an artifact hunter, or you grab resources, or you want to be the loot guy and you want to collect everything, like in a Fallout game or whatever, then you're going to have to wear one of these suits and go from there.
the other thing is like we'll be scaling back which suits have EVA capabilities as well.
Yes.
So there are some very specialized EVA suits in the game.
Yeah.
So if you want to spend a lot of time out in space, these are ones you'll want around.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're like a salvager, for example, and you're going out in space, like you're going to need a lot of like oxygen capacity and EVA capacity. These are going to be a much bigger deal than they are now. Like it's going to be a lot of kind of preparing for like, okay, like you said,
一つスペシャリティに選んだらどれぐらいグランディングが必要できるようになる全部どう思いますか？
Obviously, these are a lot of changes and with a lot of moving parts.
わからない。
There's I can see why there'd be a perception that this just makes the game more tedious. More crap you have to manage. More so like this. We always operate, and I've been here for a decade now, so I can say this in full-throated here. We always operate on this idea of you bring it to the point of realism, and then you bring it back to the point of fun.
Yeah.
It's when all these new systems get implemented, all these different suits and all these, this does this best for this, and this best for this, and this best for this, like this. There will, like with anything else, be an adjustment period, not only to that, but then from that back to this point where we like it becomes manageable. Just like with the suit lockers, I'm absolutely certain that there was a point where accessing the suit lockers was okay. Hand.
Yeah.
Play that animation. Other hand. And you're just like, okay, all right, feet and whatnot. It's you can do that in something like Squadron because it's a single player game and like this, but in an MMO and stuff like this. Okay, yeah, we have that system, but let's. It's we're a little time dilation there.
Yeah, same with it. Like I was saying, the drop ship seats.
Exactly.
Just these little things that make it bearable.
Yeah, these little things that'll speed up the process and let you get into the fight faster or get into the situation.
And you typically know a path, right? Like if you're like, oh, I need these materials for my base or, to craft these things, then you'd be like, okay, where is that? Here it is. Oh, it's on this planet. It has these contexts. Okay, I can do this. So you kind of already know to come prepared beforehand because you know what you're facing because you know what you're going to get. So it's less like, oh, I'm there and I don't have that thing. It's like, cool, I've prepared. I know what's going to happen. I'm going to go there.
And just to finish on that question, obviously, Luke and I have spent so long, like we've looked at every aspect of Star Citizen, and because we are such a huge scope of a game, like there's all these different roles, but armor is still it's in the name, it's armor, right? So I think obviously it's very easy to go towards combat and damage mitigation and all that because it's armor, but we are thinking
このインフォメーションはこのプラネットかシステムは何が必要とか、どんなリソースがあるかどうか、このゲームの中でどこにインフォメーションがなるか、外に探さないといけない。
I will say when you were describing the medic version.
ウェブサイトで、そういう情報を共有してくれる人も出てくると思うし、基本的には自分で探さないといけない。
I want to sit there with a med pen, and a shield working towards a down person.
Yeah.
I think Chris doesn't like shields, if I remember properly.
Chris is wrong. You're watching the last broadcast of Star Citizen. He doesn't like shields. All right, I'm gonna talk to him. Hold on, just let me message him now. We're not live, so I can take the time to
Yeah, get Boss Man on.
Chris. WTF?
でも、スターマップはこのインフォメーションは
Leave him with that. See how long it takes him to respond.
するつもりじゃないいつか何が聞こえた私悲しい。
Let's go back to a Valagar question. Where's a Valagar question?
あんまりそういう話があった覚えはない
Is the
かな。
Valagar the biggest thing?
でも探すっていうのもやっぱりそのゲームの冒険をしてリソースを探すっていうのもあれ後ろにクリス飛んでるもしかして
これ私でした。
違う。この人すぐにねしょうもない状態だから気にしちゃダメよ。俺よりひどいから。
And I'll leave it there. But it is intense.
Is a Valacar longer than
No
a
comment
space
on
whale?
Well, it depends on the size of the space whale.
A long space whale.
A long space whale, perfectly average space whale. I don't know the measurements of the space.
I bet it's longer, but not. Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Are you self-conscious?
バラカーっていうのは生物
サンドワーム。
ああ。
I don't know. I'm burning into a whole place. It's just better if I keep my mouth
ホ
shut.
エールが宇宙に出てく
Chris
る
has messaged.
宇宙クジラ。
宇
All right,
宙
well, we
ク
don't
ジ
need to
ラ
worry about next week's show.
これクルセイダーでですね、
そうだね。ク
Will
ルセ
there
イダ
be
ー。
reputation slash guild
Crusader
slash
確かそう
or
だね。
clothing
出てくるね。
items made
宇宙クジ
available
ラ。
that give special stat
動画でも
bonuses
た
or
まに出て
armor
きてるから
capabilities?
まだ実装されてないけど。
Not
あと
quite.
ホライゾンはこのスタチューもある。結構有名な。
All like the majority of armor loadout, armor blueprints will be unlocked via guilds.
ああ、やっぱギルド通じてあるのかなね。
うん。
Guilds,
Guilds.
player
Oh yeah, they're the
player orgs.
yeah. Because I always get confused about this because
So player orgs
Yeah.
will allow you to customize your armor with your logo and stuff on there, but that's it. It's just cosmetic. Guilds, say we've got these really specialized armors, right? You're not going to find those in shops. They'll be super rare in like loot drops, maybe on missions and stuff like that.
まあ
So-
レアだけど
You
ドロ
unlocking
ッ
that
プも
blueprint and
手に入る
crafting
って
it
ことだ
might
ね。
be the first time you ever come across it. You ever get to, wear it. If it's, one of those super specialized things. But it's not a better, we don't give it a buff because it's a guild version or anything
この
like that.
クオリティもある
That's
このスペシャライズドギア
You make it and you make it, you research it.
クオリティ
and that's how you
は
get those buffs.
だから使ってる
This ties
マ
into
テリアル
your-
のクオリティ
your
で
set bonus question from before. There
るから。
isn't some just magical bonus that's added to these things.
ブループリン
It is-
トは
it
ブ
is
ループリントだ
like
と
as many other things as Star Citizen as we can, we build it systemically, and it's just when you get these pieces, you'll be able to mix them and match them with other armor types, and you make the loadout and the stat pool that you want, from all these things. So,
でも絶対もう作ることは結構難しくなるじゃないマテリアルとかリソースとか集まりにくくなる。そうしてないと皆さんすごいいっぱい
do we use insurance
作って売れること
or blueprint, and how does that work?
ものによると思う。高性能なアーマーはもちろん複雑なレシピになるだろうし、そんなに簡単にアンロックできるようなものは簡単に作れると思うし、でも例えば一つのものを大量生産しようと思って、そのアーマーのヘルメットからブーツまで全部上から下までフルセットを作るってなるといろんな材料が必要になって複雑になって大変かもしれないけど、ヘルメットのみをひたすら生産するんだったら、
And just
絞っ
because I
て
know somebody's immediately going to ask,
材
that's
料を
not a
集めればいい
replacement
から
of the item kiosk.
できないこと
The
ないんじ
item
ゃないか
recovery,
なと思ってるね。
a kiosk that we've talked about in the past that is, I think it was at one point we intended it to be in a previous patch and it just wasn't ready and stuff like this. There are still plans for that when we solve a number of technical challenges. We were talking about that before the show, how to keep that from being an item duplication machine. It has to go through and find, like, where is the existing item? Where is it's floating out in the, halfway between Hearst and Microtech. Okay, it's got to clean that item up and give you the new one, so we're not just spamming hundreds and hundreds of copies. But also, if it was stolen, if it was taken, no. If it's sitting in somebody else's inventory, that's is that a legitimate kind of thing? Because we also don't want that to just become a duplicate. So there's a number of technical and logistical and just game rules things that we're still working out. But crafting seems like
そうしたらもし
when it comes out.
本当のお金でペットストアで何かギアに買ったら後で何かをいくらでもに作ることできるようになる。
材料があれば
I'm
ね
always a big fan. I can't
マ
get
テリアルがあれば作れる
of
作り直せる
some of the helmets that came out.
じゃあ例えばもし私何か買ったら何かいいものに買ったら後で自分の店でこれ作ってどんどん売れることできるね。
Sometimes they can't.
できると思う。
You're not the only one.
Many games, including Star Citizen, have gear for hot and cold environments. We talked about environmental armors earlier. However, has the team considered specialized clothing tailored to help in traversing places like jungles and swamps?
Yes. All
Next question.
He's on it.
nailed it. They sound like humid locations, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what else, what other challenges are in a jungle, right? Humidity just raises the ambient temperature. So if you have a sealed suit that has decent, heat mitigation, like you'll be
スー
fine.
ツ次第に環境に適応できるかできないかが変わってくるのか。
And we have plenty of explorer
まあ
suits.
今もそうか。
まあ今もね、
So you can be
寒い
out
とこ
in
ろと
those
暑いところもある
environments
から
for
それがもうちょっ
extended
と
periods
細
of
かく
time,
なっ
whereas
てく
if
る
you were just wearing
じゃない
kind of combat armor, you would overheat very quickly.
They mentioned clothing specifically, so I
けどスペースは大体どこでも行けるみたいな。
so you don't overheat.
どれだけ長く活動できるかっていう違いだと思う。基本的にベーシックな、アーマースーツでいけるけど、特化すれば活動時間が増えるよっていう。
Watching your vitals go crazy.
We've kind of got that currently in game now, right? So when I joined design team, I did a temperature pass on all our clothing and armors. So we have like a minimum and max resistance. So when you start to hit
パネルで見たらカストラは結構厳しくなるじゃない。向こうはいろんな特別なスーツが必要になる。
カストラね。あそこ確か有毒なガスが出てるっていう話だから。
In the mid-90s, I used to be a professional baseball man.
特別動物に出てくるかもしれない。この子の
dinosaur costume, and I always had a camel pack full of orange juice and vodka.
Nice.
I forgot how that was going to attach. I had a connection to that, and I lost it halfway through, and then I was hoping it would come back by the time I got to the end of the story.
When you were doing that, I wasn't born.
I was going to say that went right over your head, didn't it? Yeah. The 90s?
The 90s, what are those?
What's that? Best time.
Let's check our messages from Chris. Yeah, it's my last show anyway, so what the hell. Will we be able to save loadouts of gear?
Yes.
Yeah, in the armor, what do we call them? Armor lockers, which we talked about.
Yeah. So it's kind of what we alluded to earlier, the sense that you can quickly swap to your loadout by the locker.
Will we have backpacks that work with regular clothing that we can use without having to wear armor?
Yeah, so we are entertaining the idea of potentially, like we're saying, light, because obviously we've got light, medium, heavy backpacks as well. So light backpacks could be used with clothing, and we might even make dedicated backpacks.
じゃあ船になくなったら結構大変じゃない？これ全部最初やり直し。
And okay, I'm really old. Oh my God!
I'm not gonna lie.
If you were on the
Or
wide,
American, I don't get that one either.
if you were on the wide, you saw 3 absolutely dead expressions.
Yeah. How's that?
Somebody out there knows Jansport. No, but nobody.
キャンスポートってわかんないわ。
It's almost Jared's bedtime.
All right.
ジェネレーションネタだ
Why
から。
was the Boreal Stalker canceled?
It's not
俺もわかんない。
cancelled. No, it's not cancelled. We really want to do it. Rich is really keen on getting those creatures that everyone has seen before in the game.
It was in the Matrix.
It was in the Matrix as well, yeah, and really cool variants of it as well. So not cancelled, definitely coming. They haven't found any old tweets, so it'll be all right.
I think there's a thing that, I mean, obviously, you know, priorities in game development shift and stuff like this. A lot of times that happens because of resource availability and stuff, and you're always, you know, Boreal Stalker has all these, you know, additional parts, and it's gonna be a pain in the butt to animate whoever has.
Oh no, you're thinking of the Whip Crab.
I'm thinking of the Whip Crab.
Boreal Stalker is the Yeti one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, so those creatures are definitely sooner in.
Well, because we just got the hair now with the space cows. So
and it looks
that's the space cows are a stepping stone to me.
Yeah.
Bushine.
What was the big crab thing that I'm thinking of? What's it called?
That's the pyro crab, but the whip crab, it has a couple of names.
このイエティっぽい感じのクリーチャーじゃない？
Like
なる。
WIP crab? Like whip crab?
That would be a very CRG appropriate name. But yeah, also with the Fauna Matrix as well, we've left some slots intentionally blank because whether anyone in the community posts something really cool and we're like, yeah, we want to nick that, or you know, game directors do that thing where they go down and go, wouldn't it be cool if? And yeah, so we've left a couple of slots in the Fauna Matrix available intentionally in case we think of anything cool or we come up with anything cool and we can put it in the production pipeline. Yeah, we have the next 5 kind of like we know what they are. So the next 5 we know what they are, and they're going to be very cool, and you're going to get a variety in those 5 as well.
What are they?
I can't say. Can't spoil it.
You can tell me.
How are you?
Earmuffs,
Yeah,
everybody.
hang on one sec. Let me just.
You're making gibberish faces.
That's just my accent.
So it's CitizenCon when Armando was on stage talking about Star Wars, it was mentioned that mixing clothing and armor is one of the key features of that. This question simply says, will we be able to wear clothing over armor? like the most popular thing is that that duster over a set of armor so that they look like Dash Rendar. That's enough. No, I have all the old references. Never mind.
これはいいな。
Clothing over
欲しい。
armor.
Yes, next. Yes, you can. There's kind of multiple layers to it. So there's a bit underlayer.
Multiple layers.
No, there is underlayer, overlayer, and then the overcoat, right? The overcoat can go over those two layers unless it gets too extreme. You've got a huge core or something, something that's sticking out. A coat won't go over that. Maybe a backpack. And then there's like combinations of the underlayer and the overlayer you can have. So you can have clothing armor or undersuit clothing, and then the usual kind of undersuit armor. So yeah, you can put clothing over armor, but it's an overcoat.
でもこの上でルックサックとかつけることできるようになる。
Armando only had a very small part of that.
今の話だけだったらわからない。
That's such a long requested feature for our game, and as seeing it technically possible now is really exciting. Speaking of that, let's go back to that fauna matrix. We saw a lot of simplified concept sketches on the fauna matrix. What are the next couple of priority creatures for implementation? You put this question in there. You just said you couldn't answer that question.
Yeah, well, no, I can't remember exactly what I put, but it was like...
You put some
Yeah,
bullshit answer
何がなる
about how
かな。
you can't answer that question.
Yeah, that's what we do. But then it was, it's like, we have the next 5 release, post-Valakar. There's one thing, so post-Valakar is something you've never seen before, and we're really keen to get those creatures out there. But pre-Valakar, there is a new one. So there is one coming before the Valakar that is new.
What is it? No, I'm telling you, I'm taking. I'll take
Cal 2.0.
Oh.
We get to do another 10-minute episode where you rugby tackle me. It'll be fantastic.
No.
Oh.
No. All right. Give me the name of the one after the sandworm.
One after the sandworm.
Give me the name. They won't know what it is. Just give me the name.
No, because they'll know what it is. I'll give you.
Is it?
I'll give you the name of the one before the sandworm. It's a Toruk.
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 Toruk. And it is a bit sci-fi, but it is a neutral creature.
As opposed to
a hostile.
Oh.
It won't like.
何これと思う。
thinking about alignment. This is an awful good creature.
でかい牛っぽい感じじゃない？
I wanted to do another neutral creature because I want to work on some neutral creature interactions. Like we have the Quasi-Grazer going out, for example, and that's really cool. But as we develop the Quasi-Grazer, when you stand near it and you interact it, you want it to be a bit more interactive. So we're making some creature tech, for example. It sounds really dumb, but it makes a lot of sense when you see the Quasi-Grazer in 4.0 and understand why we're doing it. It's like, when you walk up to it, it looks at you like a pet interaction and things like that. So any like neutral creatures that you do come into contact with, they're a bit more alive in the world and they're not just like doing their own sort of thing. It's like if you walk into a cow, or you see a cow, it is aware of you, it's conscious of you, and that is obviously a lot of subtle animation work. It's a lot of like AI work, but that's really important because I need us to be
例えば、ガンに撃ったら逃げるようになる
being worked on as well as
そうじゃない？
とか、何か近くで何か爆弾に落としたらとか逃げてほしい
more
ね。
than you'd hope, but less than you'd expect.
Is it as magnificent as I imagine?
It is. It's
あ
glorious.
あれだよね。現実世界の、動物と同じような反応をす
All
る
right,
よ
we're
う
wrapping up here.
で
Will
きる
it be
か
possible and
な。できる
valid
限りだろう
to
けど。
mix dress types to be more versatile in exchange for losing max stats?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. That's
Absolutely.
core to the whole system.
Yeah, but again, you will be worse in some other ways. You might find that mixing together like some
なんとか乗れる馬みたい動物が出てくる話聞こえた
very specific situation.
いや、
But,
まだそういうのは聞いてない。
For instance, we're going
で
to
も、ペットが
have
まだ
these
だから、
full
ペットが
suit
先じゃない？
kind of features.
乗る前に。
ぜひね。
So like there'll be systems and
けど
even just
ペットは
kind of weight, the mass support
馬のよりは
put together.
難しい違
So
う
right now, for instance, you can put on like a heavy backpack, heavy core, heavy arms, heavy helmet, and then absolutely no trousers, right? Just run around with
Saturday night.
全く動かない馬だったらいいかもしれないけど、馬もペットだから、ペットのように動くものを先に用意しないと
So that's going.
難しいと思うけど。
Your puny little legs won't be able to carry the weight of that because we're making all armors heavier as well. So you will need the support of this leg armor to make that viable.
You just crushed the hopes and dreams of Zero State. Sorry, man. I know. Okay. I'm just
だか
throwing
ら
haymakers
上
left and right.
上半身だけヘビーアーマーで下
So we'll
何も
wrap
履
up
かない
here.
っての
One
もで
last
きないってことだ
question.
よね。今支えられないから。
What needs to be finished for the Valakar to be released?
Okay, I also have a list of this one, so let me double check. Here we go. So what you saw in the demo was completely fightable. We've been playing that. We're really happy with where it is and how quickly it's come along. So we're able to balance that, but what we need to do is have the worm have bespoke collision, because there's not really a human being or any kind of creature that is able to withstand a
まだ
ship hitting
今
it.
年まだ
So
入って
that
ない
would
と思う、違
bespoke
う
collision basically.
Wait, did you say ship or
Ship.
okay?
I
Yeah.
heard that too. I was like, oh, what?
It's my accent. Yeah, so that's the one major thing missing from the Valakar. We also need to make sure it behaves on the server, because, AI historically. Add some more attack animations, polish its animations, VFX, as well as setting up, the big event that we talked about. Yeah, so, but there's a lot of things we need to do with, like, planet tech and spawning creatures and all that, and that we need to, like, nail down, because when we did the Copians initially, we basically could use the stuff we used to spawn rocks to spawn Copians. We're like, oh, cool, this works. But there's some things we need to do to validate where creatures spawn better. For example, like if we have quasi-grazers, we need to make sure they spawn near food sources and waters, and basically make the spawning more logical.
Yeah, a bunch of the fights were when we spawned the sandworm, quasi-grazers were spawning
Yeah, exactly.
alongside it.
That's what I mean. So it's like if they know there's danger in the area, because I landed my ship because we had a bug.
ヒューガさん、もし勝手にこのコピョンは家の中でスパーニングしたらもうペットできるように勝手に。
And then we looked at all the entity lists. They're like, why are there quasi-grazers here?
まあ、いたら可愛い
Like
ね。
I said, we're an incredibly emergent systemic.
けど逃げないといけない。
コージクワイザーってあれでしょ、今ゲームの中にちっちゃい鳥の話でしょ。すごい安全な。
He said AI historically.
この鳥は名前は忘れた。何これ鳥。
Just don't.
They've been working great
Was it-
since I came on SC.
No, that's the cow.
Yeah,
That's gonna get clipped.
この牛はコージグレイダー、クレイザー、牛。
improvements with server meshing and stuff like that. So we're all still fingers crossed for a lot of important
ボディ
improvements.
クレーダーっていうのは
You'll
牛なの
have seen how good
鳥
the
のやつ
FPS
だと思ってた、
has
今
gone
すでにい
from
るやつ。
私間違ってないかなと思ってるよ。
多分鳥の話だと思うけど。
It has been really nice to see it all come together, and we're constantly pushing for that at the minute. Like,
まあ皆さん調べてみてください。
違う、グレイザーは意味は草食ってる。That's a grazing animal. だから牛と思う。
ああ、そういうこと
Luke,。Nick, Zach, you did it. Thank you so much for taking the time out to do this. Thank you for coming a day earlier to accommodate someone's vacation plans.
vacation, Mr. Worldwide.
You're allowed to take some time and jet set, whatever. The rest of us will be here doing the actual work. It's cool. Thank you so much, guys. If you haven't, check out yesterday's ISC. It was our annual behind-the-scenes look at the making of CitizenCon this year. This year, fully directed and created by our own Tom Rao. I had nothing to do with it, and it's really good. And I'm saying that for the camera because he's right here. He just flipped me off. So be sure you check that out if you haven't already, and then come on back next week. Next week on Inside Star Citizen, we're talking to Benoit and members of the network team. Where it's a server meshing follow-up on all these recent tech preview tests that we're doing. So you want to check that out, and then come right back here for another SEO follow-up to one of our Citizen presentations.
まあ今回のその字幕をつけるときの作業もなんだかんだで、まあそれなりに丁寧にやったんで、まあ今回良かったよね、やっぱさ、字幕。
字幕すごいよかった。
そう、 丁寧にやった分時間かかったんで、やっぱり、次もね、多分実際に CIG がこうやって動画を出してから、まあ1週間ぐらいかかるかもしれないんですけど、まあこれからもやっていくんで、ぜひ字幕動画の方ね、楽しみに待ってもらえたらなと思います。あとは、そうだね、今日初めて、やっと俺のお父さんのジャスパーが出てきたんだけど、ね、ジャスパー。
ありがとうございます。はい。
いや、だから今度さ、アパロイドさんと、あともう一人エルルカさんっているんだけど、観光に連れてって。
はい、わかりました。はい。
うん。
ところでも、新しい船も出てくるからで行こうかな。
うん。船は何でもいいよ。うん。とりあえずね、エルルカさんとアッパさんと私は、あんまりいろんなとこ行ってないんですよ、スターシーズンの中で。これから動画でいろんなところをフレッシュなリアクションでみんなに見せたいなって、まあせっかくならね、やっぱり私たちが感動してるいいリアクションを撮った状態で動画撮りたいんで、あんまり行かないようにしてるから、だからそういうところをね、ジャスパーの方がよくいろんなとこ行ってるの知ってるから連れてってほしい。
戦わないから、はい、わかりました。楽しみに。センドケープ見たことがある？
なんて What is that?
センドケープ見たことがある？
サンドケーブ
センド。
Sand? What do you mean sand? I mean,
just caves.
Caves? 洞窟ってこと？
OK,
OK.
あ、洞窟？
うん、洞窟観光に行こうって。じゃあ。
お、いいね。
うん。
はい。わかりました。はい。
じゃあ、皆さんご視聴ありがとうございました。
よろしくお願いします。はい、ありがとうございます。
ありがとうございました。お疲れ様です。
お疲れ様です。
バイバイ。